So before starting the session, couple of things I need to register. Like you might have seen that the messages regarding these sessions, like the session is taken by industrial expert Syed. But one thing I need to clarify that I'm not expertised in IoT or augmented reality. I am in a learning stage. My expertise area are on BPM, business process management, integration technology, and robotic process automation. So IoT and augmented reality is something which I'm exploring and experimenting. It's kind of a passion for me. So I know that there are a lot of IoT sessions has been conducted by Miller Foundation, and in-depth sessions are has been conducted, and expertise people are there in the call. And so if any in any places, if I'm giving any wrong information regarding IoT or augmented reality, just stop me and correct me in that place. And there may be a few people like new to this field like me, so we are all in same boat, so we are going to learn together. And so these are the things I need to register in your mind so before starting our session. So here I'm sharing my screen, so we'll directly jump into the session. And let me know, Saif, confirm me like if my screen is visible to you.
Yeah, it's visible. I think if you can make it a little bigger.
Is it
Okay.
visible now?
Yeah, it's good. So we
Okay.
see a glacier,
Yeah.
IoT,
Okay.
AR. Yeah,
Okay.
it's good.
Yeah. Okay. So as we discussed, like today we are going to see about IoT and augmented reality. And as I mentioned, I'm not going to take you to the in-depth of IoT or augmented reality. So I'm just going to give the overview of IoT and augmented reality, what it exactly can do in the industry. And as Saif mentioned, it is a cutting-edge technology, and it's going to, already created the revolution in the industry in all the fields, irrespective of the domains in health system, and in manufacturing system, in retail. So in almost in all the industries it has created a great impact, and peoples are investing a lot of monies on IoT and augmented reality. So whatever the applications we are seeing in the market, it is like a tip of an iceberg, right? So because the boundary is not limited for IoT, so it's based on our imagination. You can come up with your solutions, and the based on the budget and the imagination, you can do a lot of stuffs with IoT. It is not restricted that we can do only this kind of stuffs with IoT. So that is the power of IoT. So we'll see agenda for this presentation. So this is agenda. First, we'll see an overview of IoT, like what is exactly IoT is. As I told, I'm not going to take you a bunch of theoretical things. I'm just going to take an overview, and we'll understand the basic concepts of IoT, basic components of IoT, how the data communication is happening between the devices and from the sensors to the cloud. So all those things we will see as part of the this seminar. And we'll see the IoT architecture, and we'll see a live demo with THT11 sensor, how the temperature and humidity we are getting from the sensor. And once it is done, then we'll take you to the AR, and we'll see what is AR, VR, and mixed reality. And then we'll see with real-time AR applications. And whatever the live demo we have seen with the THT11 sensor, we will project or augment the data in the augmented reality way, and we can control visually the data of THT11 sensor data. So we'll see those demos over there. So this is the agenda of the whole session today. So we'll start with the Internet of Things. So we all know that I'm sure that all must have heard the word Internet of Things or IoT. So it is like a fancy term nowadays. So it's nothing but so many definitions available in the market, but everything is like pointing to a single thing. Like it is nothing but a connected device that communicate with other connected device via internet. Like see, you can see in the animation here, there are in a factory there may be a lot of sensor, a lot of devices may be there. In a van or in a vehicle there is a GPS may be there, and there is a temperature sensor, and like watch sensor, pressure sensor. So all these sensors and devices are connected over the internet, so that whoever want the data can fetch the data and do that kind of analytics they want. And at the same time, they can send a command back to the devices to take particular action in the on premises. So that is the brief definition about the IoT. So it is connecting a different devices over the internet, and we can control it from a remote place. So whenever the IoT sensor, like a most common thing is like people say home automation, right? So this animation is speak about the home automation. In home we have fan switches, so everything we can make the every appliances in our home we can make this as smart, say by appending the sensor. Like if you can control your fan in remotely by putting some sensor over on fan and some sensor on light, and you can make your water tap in a smarter way, and we have a smart padlock is there. And so everything is like controlled by sensor, and it is connected over internet, and from a remote place you can control all those devices using a single application. So that's how the IoT is like working when it comes to home automation. So so we'll see couple of application, real-time application also. So we have we might have used like this small home bank, right? Like which is made of mud. We might have used in a childhood, used to store the coins, right? So that is a traditional way of storing the our savings, like little savings. So once this saving is end, and if you want to get the amount, then if you want to count the amount, you need to broke that mud pot, and then you have to count that, right? Nowadays, like IoT is it changed the way of thinking, right? People want even the technology to be there in your daily day-to-day life activities, like. So they have embedded the IoT in this smart piggy bank. So what I think, they have put a lot of sensors over in piggy bank. So whenever you put a coin, it can detect how much coin, what is the amount of coin you are putting. Like for example, if you're inserting $1 or $10, $100, it can detect what kind of coin you're putting in the bank, so that it will collect the data, and it will send the data to the some mobile applications, and you can check how many amounts are there in the piggy bank, and you can take a particular action on that. So that's how the IoT is changing the way of thinking and the real-time applications. And same way, like you can make a smart door lock. For example, you have locked the door and you have taken a key with you, and you went to a different place or different city, and some relatives or some friend is coming to your home, and they need a key, right? So they want to enter the house and they don't have a key. That is a problem with the traditional way of lock. Now you can make a smart door lock, so that whenever you logged and went, and if your friend want to enter the house, you can control it from different place, different city or different countries through internet, and you can lock and unlock your door. So that is the power of IoT is giving to you. And there is a smart socks is available. It is very similar to our smart watches, which can help to it can count the number of steps we are making every day, and it can count the speed, calories, altitude, and distance tracking. Same way, there are smart mirrors. You can see it in very high level hotels, like five-star hotels. There are smart mirrors nowadays available. So in a mirror you can control everything. Like you can put your mobile images and videos in the smart, you can bring back to this smart mirror, and you can play it on the mirror. You can control your appliances over the smart mirror, and even you can attend your call uh, in the smart mobile smart mirror. So that's how uh, the things are working in IoT. You just come up with an idea, and then you check for what are the feasibility, how we can attend it. As I told, there is no limitation at all. See, now there is a smart shirts are available. Even that shirts can be it can calculate your body heat, and you can monitor your heart rate and kind of the breathing, whether we are exhausting, or all those things can be monitored with a smart shirt, and it is helping a lot in improving our health, especially with the sports person. So that's how these are the few applications that IoT made it feasible. So it's all about our imagination, how we are going to change our day to activity or day to appliance in a smarter way. So we need to come up with an idea, come up with the creativity, then we need to check out the feasibility and budget. All those things will come into picture. So these so now we have seen so many applications, right? So how these the data which we are collecting from the sensors, like for example health monitoring, there are a lot of sensors are there which need to calculate our heart rate and oxygen count, all those things, like a sensor is there, right? How these sensor data are sending to the internet, sending over the internet, and from internet how it is coming to the mobile applications. So that's where we need to come up, we need to be familiar with the IoT building blocks. So for example, uh, I need to calculate, I need to see, or I need to monitor my room temperature. Okay, that's my requirement, and I need to monitor that my room temperature remotely. Wherever I go, I need to check my room temperature. That's the kind of requirement I need. So what is the first step I will do? I will check for the kind of sensor. What is the basic sensor I need? So I will go with the temperature sensor. So I will go for DHT11 or DHT22 sensor. So then I need to come up with the device. We need a device, right? The device, we need a device to power up the sensor and to get the data from the sensor. So we need a device. There are a lot of devices available in the market. We have a particle board, Node MCU, and Arduino board is there, and Raspberry Pi 0 to 4 we have, and now 8 GB has been launched in Raspberry Pi. Lot of devices are there. We need to come up with a device, so the device can give a power up for this sensor, and we can get the data from the sensor. So for example, now for the room temperature, I went with THT11 sensor, and I have come up with a Node MCU board. So with that, I have come up with the circuit diagram, and now my sensor is connected to the uh, Node MCU board. So now my device is ready, which is getting the temperature of room temperature and humidity of my the particular places. So once that data is collected, now it is sending that data to the cloud environment. Okay, so once the data is sent back to the cloud environment, so it is like everyone can come and access the data, right? So there is another component, gateway is there. We'll see what exactly the function of gateway. So in simple, in once the data comes to the cloud environment, we can do a cloud computing over here, like data analytics and machine learning, and all those things can be applied over your data, and we can make your data in a smarter way, and that can be projected to the different end applications. And gateway is something where we called as in IoT, we called this the edge location or edge gateway, where the edge computing will be there. So in cloud, we are doing a cloud computing, and in gateway, we are doing a edge computing. So difference is there. In cloud computing, we need a very high level of computing power is required, and huge, like very large number of computations are done in the cloud. And wherever in edge computing, we will do a minor computing, so like a very small amount of computing where we required the hardware configurations, we need very less amount of configuration is required in edge. So we'll see the differences between the edge computing and cloud computing in upcoming slides. So these are the different blocks. When it comes to IoT, you need to be familiar with these blocks, like the devices with a sensor, and we have a gateway, and we have a cloud environment. And from once the data is put it in the cloud environment, then different users can come and subscribe the data, and they can use for their own purpose. Okay, that is the whole idea. Now we'll see how the data from the devices is propagating to the cloud environment. That is something we need to be very familiar with that, right? For example, in web services, normal web services are there, right? We'll use HTTP, HTTPS protocol, and we will consume whether REST-based web services or SOAP-based web services. We'll go and consume all those services, right? Now, in IoT, we are specific to the MQTT protocol. Okay, MQTT is nothing but message queuing telemetry transport. It's a lightweight protocol, and it works in a publish subscribe manner. Okay, so we almost have heard about queues, right? We might have used message queues. So message queues, we have like two different types. Like one is point to point message queues and topics. So in point to point, like we put the data in the queue, and whoever like there will be only one listener to that particular queue, and they will consume the data. And topic is like a publish subscribe. You publish the data to the topic, and whoever subscribe to topic, they will all consume the data. In simple time, it's a newspaper, right? There are different vendors are available, like Times of India, the Hindu. So many vendors are available. So for example, myself and my um, 10 neighbors are in subscribed for Times of India. So Times of India is a single vendor who is publishing the newspaper, and we, myself and my neighbors are subscribed to that newspaper. So whenever the Times of India is publishing the newspaper, whoever all subscribe to the newspaper will get the newspaper. The same way, right? The we call as a MQTT broker. We'll create a MQTT broker in a cloud environment, and the temperature sensor, like our devices, right? Devices with THT11 is the vendor who is producing the data. It will publish the data to the MQTT broker, and who are all subscribed to that MQTT broker will get the data. For example, now the temperature is publishing 21.3 degrees Celsius to the MQTT broker, and there are two different applications who is subscribing the data, and both applications will get the data. Okay. And even if you hundreds of subscribers are coming and subscribing to data, they all 100 people will get the data of this published data. So that is the concept of MQTT. So it works in a publish subscribe manner. So that is the protocol we are using for in IoT. So we'll see in a different way. So let assume that there is a different application or different requirement I need. Okay, I need to monitor the traffic in my city. Okay, so that is my idea, or that is my requirement. So how I will proceed with it? So for to monitor the traffic, I need a camera to be placed in that particular places, and the camera will stream the videos and images, whatever it is capturing. It will send the that video feed to the traffic control system, where the traffic polices will be there. They will keep on monitoring, and they will decide what kind of activity is going on road, if any accident is happening, or if any route things are going on the road. All those things they will monitor, and they will take a different action. This is a traditional way of controlling the traffic, right? Even the camera is a device, and it is capturing the traditional camera. The camera is a device, it is capturing the videos or images, and is publishing to the traffic control system, and from that traffic police is managing. Now with IoT, the machine learning and deep learning concepts, we can come up with a smart camera. The smart camera is nothing but it has a computer vision capability. Like if I'm in the road, if I'm the traffic police, I'm controlling the traffic, I know what's happening in my road, right? So based on the traffic flow, I can control, or I can navigate the traffic, and I know if any accident has happened, I can know that the accident has happened. The same way the smart camera has the thinking or cognitive capability. With all the deep learning and machine learning algorithms, we have trained all those images and video feeds. All those that has been fed into the smart camera, and it's already trained, and all those models are deployed in the camera itself, so to make that as a smart camera. So whatever it has now the vision capability, computer vision capability. So whatever it happening in front, it knows what exactly it is going on. So that's why for our requirements, we have implemented three different smart cameras. This is the first camera, second camera, and third camera, which will keep on monitoring the traffic flow, and it can monitor the weather, it can monitor the road conditions. All those things it can be monitored based on the model we deployed on the cameras. Okay, so see, all these smart cameras are the devices which should be located on the premises, right? On premises. And gateway, all these devices are sending the data to the gateway. From gateway, it is publishing to the MQTT broker. So this is how the communication is, actual communication is happening. So the devices, wherever the devices is there, it is on premises location, right? Is the actual location the device is there. And gateway, something should be placed near to the devices. That is the requirement. We'll see why what is the purpose of gateway. We'll see in next couple of slides. So we know that the gateway, it is doing some kind of computing, right? Edge computing, some kind of data analytics it's doing in the gateway. And cloud is also, it is for the purpose is for computing. Okay, but it is in a very higher level, and it is like do a very low level computing. Okay, that's the main difference between the gateway and the cloud. So what is the exact purpose of gateway? We'll see it in a couple of slides. So this how the like a very high level architecture will see in IoT. So all the devices in the on premises will connect to the set of gateway, and from gateway we will publish the data to the MQTT broker in the cloud. And whatever the city traffic camera system is, one application is subscribed to the broker, and whenever the gateways publish the video to this cloud, it will subscribe and they will pass it to the camera system. That may be a transportation system, and they might also need this data. Even they can subscribe to this MQTT broker and they can get the data. So that's the whole idea of this thing. Now we'll see, for example, we have attached a smart camera, right? Now the smart camera has detected that some accident has happened in this particular place. See, now the smart camera has detected accident. Okay, some accident is detected. So what it will do is, so once the accident is detected, it send the data to the gateway, right? From gateway it is sending the data to the traffic transportation system. Okay, so that's what it is doing. See, it's from gateway, the city transportation system got the information that some accident has been happened. Everything it is happening without manual intervention. So the system in the city transportation system, what it will do is, it will immediately notify the schools nearby, that so that the school bus which is coming in this particular route can take an alternate route. Okay, and also it can intimate to the nearby airport so that they can take an appropriate action. They can intimate the passengers, or they can take whatever the action they need based on the kind of accident, the impact it created. And also like we can, this is the accident place, right? With the accident has happened over here, we can put one LED display board over here. So immediately that we can send a message to LED board saying that they please take a different diversion. So for example, let's take Electronic City Bridge, like, which is located in Bangalore. So it is around 10 kilometers. So at one end of the bridge, the accident has happened, and to clear that accident, let us assume that 4 hours it will took. And I'm coming from another end, and without knowing that I have taken the bridge, now it is like I blocked for 4 hours, right? So if accident happens, immediately the smart camera has detected that accident has happened, and it can analyze the impact of accident, and it can also analyze that how long it will take to clear based on the past experiences. It will keep on learning that. That's what we call as a smart camera. So based on that, it will display messages over at the other end of the bridge. So whoever coming can see that messages, and they can take a different diversion. So that's how the whole thing is working. Now that's what once it is reached the cloud and the cloud computing all. So from the cloud computing, what they are doing, they will analyze the kind of accident, and again they are intimating the school, they are intimating the airport, and they are displaying the LED message, right? Now let us assume there is a, before coming to the cloud environment, this smart camera is sending the data to gateway, right? Before sending to the actual system, it is sending to the gateway. So from gateway, what we can do is, like, we can do a minimum computing. We cannot do the huge computing what we have done in the cloud environment. So immediately once the accident is occurred, from cloud I can do a little computing, and I can analyze the data, and I can intimate the signal. Okay, even the signal is a device, right? It is connected, it's a IoT connected device. So I can change the signal to red color. Okay, so immediately, so let us assume like once the accident happened, sending to cloud environment, and again to the different system, and again they are analyzing, and then again changing the red light. It is a time consuming, and hitting the cloud every time if you hit the cloud, every hit is like a cost, right? So to avoid that, like, we have a gateway, wherever whatever the computing we can do within the gateway, we will do the computing within the gateway, and we'll take a immediate action in that. That's the reason the gateway is located in the on premises. It can easily communicate it to the devices. Okay, before sending to cloud, if the gateway want to take any action on the device, they can immediately do the computation over here. That's why we call as edge computing, and it will do the computation over here, and it will instruct the devices to take the particular action. We can have one more example, like autonomous car, right? Autonomous car is like everything is like automated. Like, even we have a sensor for steering, brake, accelerator. Even to monitor the engine heat, we need a sensor, right? So all these sensors are before sending the data to the cloud environment. There will be gateway within the car, and that will be sent to the gateway, and in gateway will do a certain computation. For example, brake has to be applied. Okay, so let assume that it has sensed that that brake has to be applied, and it has taken the data and it put to the cloud environment. From cloud, some other application has consumed it, and it does a data analytic, and then again it is giving an instruction to the car that brake has to be applied. So that is not going to work, right? It will take a huge time. That's why we are putting a gateway within the car itself. So gateway will do that computation. Okay, based on the situation from the sensor data, the gateway will do the analytics or computing, and it will say, it will instruct the brake to apply, braking sensor to apply the brake. Okay, that's the differences between the gateway. It is like time consuming actions. Okay, so this is the one real-time applications we can see. I'll show you a video of this one, so that will give a clear picture what exactly it is going on here. So this is a very high-level system context. So whatever we discussed, it is projected here in a very simple way. So these are all like a different devices, IoT devices. With a camera is there, sensors for agriculture. All those things are here, right? So all this sensor data will be put it in the IoT platform. Once it is in available, IoT platform is nothing but MQTT broker, right? There are so many IoT platform vendors are there in cloud environment. We have Amazon AWS, Microsoft Azure IoT is there. We have Watson, IBM Watson IoT is there. So many platforms are there where you can go and create your MQTT broker. And there are so open source MQTT is also available like Eclipse, Hive. So we can use whatever you want. Okay, so let us assume like what's an IBM what's an IoT platform you are using. So once the data comes here, so whoever want the data go and subscribe to the MQTT broker, and they can consume the data. Okay, this is the video I told. So yeah, uh, so that is the this is the simple video which explains the entire thing whatever we discussed now. Okay, So this is another industrial like a real-time thing. Like for example, let's take on industry. Okay, like we need to be very careful about the workers' safety, right? The industries will have like hazardous equipment, restricted area, all those things will be there. For example, the hazardous equipment, the workers should not go near to the hazardous equipment. So there is a one kind of requirement, right? So to achieve that, we can put on proximity sensor. So proximity sensor will be placed in the hazardous equipment. So whenever the person coming near to that hazardous equipment, it will raise the buffer. Okay, and also it will send the data to the administrated people over the internet, so that they can take an immediate action. So, like they will know who has approached the hazardous equipment, and they can instruct them or they can advise them not to approach that particular hazardous equipment. And there may be a like restricted area, so we can put a motion sensor. So whenever the person tries to enter that open the restricted area, it can detect that okay, some motion has been detected, someone is trying to enter, and it can immediately instruct the camera to capture the image, and we can do image classification, and we can identify whether it's an intruder, authorized person or unauthorized person. So all those classification we can do it in the using a motion detector, and then accordingly the action has been taken. See here, like is a proximity sensor. Once the proximity is approached, then it will send the data to the and and from gateway it is sending to the IoT cloud. So everything is happening to MQTT. So it's publishing data towards an IoT platform through MQTT, and here the proximity device controller is there, which is subscribed to that particular proximity MQTT broker. So here we have three different brokers: proximity broker, motion sensor broker, and health monitor broker. So this controller is subscribed to particular broker, so it will consume only the data which is published by the proximity data. And there is a different controller called motion sensor controller, and it has been subscribed to the MQTT broker, whatever that motion sensor is publishing. So it will get only data from the motion sensor. And here health monitoring sensor is there. So here we have a controller in the backend. So that backend is subscribed to the health monitoring sensor MQTT broker. So it will get only the data from the health monitoring sensor. This is like a device end-to-end flow, like how it is actually the data is flowing from the actual devices embedded with the sensor to the cloud environment, and from cloud environment to backend, and from backend to the end user. So end user will actually see it in the mobile application or web application, what exactly it happens. So this is what like a motion detector which we created for one of the POCs. For example, in an industry there will be a restricted area, right? So we have a Raspberry Pi device which is embedded with the motion detect motion sensor. This is a motion sensor looks like, and it has an embedded camera. So this is the camera strip which we can put a camera over here. So if we have embedded camera over here, so whenever that person tries to enter the restricted area, the sensor will generate a signal, and it will instruct the camera to capture the image. Okay, so for example, this is me, Sayed, and I am part of that industry, but I don't have access to that particular restricted area. So it is classifying me as a Sayed, unauthorized person, and it is like visual representing me as a like a yellow color, right? And the same, this is another person who is he has access for that, but he is part of industry and access for the restricted area. So it is classifying as a his name is Maharishi, and he is classified as an authorized person. So this guy is he doesn't part of the industry, it is classified as an unknown intruder. Okay, this every computing is happening within the edge gateway, it is not happening in the cloud, because we need to take an immediate action over here, and we can also filter out. See, this is an authorized person, so we no need to send this data to cloud, and from cloud where we need to do all this classification, it is not required, right? So Raspberry Pi has the computing power. We have like now the 8 GB is launched, so it's like it has a very good computing power. Even we can run ML and deep learning model over there. So that's the advantage of using the gateway. All this filtering is happening on gateway, and if required we are sending the data to the Watson IoT cloud platform, so that the interaction with the cloud services we are cutting out. So it is a kind of it is helping out in cost cutting also, and also like taking an immediate action on premises itself, because the gateway is located within nearby the device where the device is mounted. Okay. So this is another example. For example, let us assume there is a battery manufacturing unit is there, where they are manufacturing the batteries, and there will be different um, areas will be there, right? Assembly areas will be there, will be formation, finishing, and dispatching will be there. So what is the problem is, like, there is an assembly area where the welding is happening. Let us assume that there is welding is not proper, welding is not properly done, then it is passed to the formation, finishing, and all the covering will be done at the end of the thing, right? So if the welding is not done proper, this entire product is a waste, right? Defective product and all those things will be like a wasted. All these things are wasted. Like, so for what we are doing, we are putting a smart camera in the conveyor belt where the welding is happening. So once the welding is done, the smart camera will capture the image of this battery, and it can analyze. We already trained with these images with the deep learning model, so whether it is a good welding or bad welding, so all those model will be deployed in the camera. So camera will, once the welding is done, it will analyze this welding, and it the camera can detect whether it's a bad or good quality. So if it is a bad quality, immediately it will be rejected at part of assembly itself. If it's a good quality, then it will pass to the formation. So that is how the simple example which we are using in a manufacturing sequence. That's how the IoT is helping out in manufacturing area. So this is one of the simple example. There are like more complicated things that people are doing in the when come to the manufacturing area. So this is the TST11 sensor circuit, so which we created now, which we are going to see now. I will show the connections now. So we have, I'm using a DHT11 sensor. I think there is a TST22 and different types of DHT sensors are available. I'm using Node MCU board, and we have 3 pins for the sensors. One is for GPIO input output, which is connected to D5 pin. Okay, these are the pins. I hope you might aware of. These are the different pins available in the board, and which is connected to the D5. And there is a ground, and ground is connected to the ground of the board, and there is a power um, so which is connected 3 volts of the board. So GPIO pin is the where the data is flowing through. Okay, this is the pin where we need to configure in our program. So I'll just show the, I'll just okay, this is my connection I have done now. So this is the Node MCU board. So this is the connection, and this is the TST sensor data sensor which is connected now. Okay, I hope you can able to see now, which is not clear. TST sensor is there, and this is the Node MCU, or this connection is like already I set up. Okay, and okay, this is the piece of code like which will read the data from the DHT 11 data 11 sensor. So here I'm defining that what is the type of sensor. So I'm defining DHT 11 sensor I'm going to use. If you're using DHT 22, then you need to change this thing in a different way. Okay, and I'm using a GPIO pin 0. So I have defined my GPIO pin, because there are a lot of GPIO pin out there. I'm connected to D5, right? So I'm just giving my GPIO pin where I have connected my GPIO pin. And this is the bond rate, 9600 is the bond rate, which I'm going to read from the serial. And yeah, this is for LED module. I'll explain it later. So with loop, right? It is with loop. So while loop, it what this function will do, it will keep on do these functions, right? Until the connection is in the getting over. So it will what it will, it keep on reading the data from that sensor. Okay, so we are for every 2 seconds, I'm giving a delay of 2 seconds. So for every 2 seconds, it will read the temperature data, and it is publishing to the serial. Okay, so here now my sensor data is we are getting it from the at using this Arduino code. So okay, how we are going to pass this data to the internet? there are two way. One is like MQTT. Okay, we can create the broker in the cloud environment, and using from here, once the data is read, we can publish our temperature and humidity data to the cloud environment. And other hand, whoever want to subscribe the data can subscribe the data. So that is what we are going to. That is a one way we can pass the data to the cloud environment. But now here, I'm not going to use the MQTT broker, because we are just using within the system. Like we are going to consume the data from the um, augmented reality, which is also located within my system. So I'm just using a different way. So what I'm doing is I'm just writing the data to my serial, right? My serial port is COM5. So I'm just writing my data to the serial. Then I'm using a Python code. Hmm. This is the Python code. So this Python code is like exposure as a web services. Okay, so the Python code will keep listening to that serial. So whenever the Arduino code writes the temperature data to the serial, it will read the data from there, and then it will expose as a web services. So we'll from augmented reality, we'll call this web services, and it will return the data of that serial data, whatever it is reading. So we are writing the same COM5. See, I'm using the serial of COM5. It's like a port, and I'm using the same bond rate 9600. Okay, so it will keep listening to this Arduino serial port. So whenever Arduino is writing something within serial, the Python program will consume the data. Okay, this is for controlling the LED. This I will explain later. Okay, this is what. Okay, it will get the data from the Arduino. Okay, it will listen to that serial, and it will get the data. And here we are decoding the data for our purposes, because we'll get the temperature and humidity as appended form. So we are just decoding, and we are split like a string manipulation we are doing, and we are putting us like temperature and humidity in a separate way. So it will return the decoded values to the augmented reality, from where we are calling this Python code. So this is the part of DHT11 sensor. Uh, okay. So now we have done with the first part, like IoT, DHT11 sensor setup. Everything is done. The code is executed, and yeah, it is connected, I guess. Yeah, the connection is established. Now it is ready. Um, Okay. So now the IoT part is done. Then we will move to the augmented reality, and we'll see how we are going to project that THT11 sensor data in an augmented way. So you all know, right? Augmented reality is like a fancy term nowadays. Like most of the peoples are want everything to be a reality, right? So augmented reality is going to create that impact in everyone's day-to-day life. So we might have seen a few augmented reality application, like Google has provided some like 3D animal augmented reality kind of thing, where you can open that using the mobile app, and you'll see some kind of animals in front of you. Okay, so before going to see the different applications, let's see what actually the augmented reality is. So augmented reality means we are bringing some virtual thing or a 3D image in our physical world. Okay, so when you see with the naked eyes, we will not see anything. But when you see with particular devices like a mobile device or HMD, we will call head mounted devices. So two different devices are there. One is handheld device. Handheld device is nothing but the mobile. Nowadays, the mobiles are coming with the huge computing power, right? For augmented reality, we need a very huge computing capacity, like we need to have very high RAM, high CPU and GPU. All those things should be in a high configuration. So nowadays the mobiles are coming with ARKit capability. And so that is the cheapest thing, because we have already have a mobile, so we can use handheld device to generate our augmented reality. And another thing is head mount devices. We'll see those things, what are the head mount devices available. This is the very costliest devices, where all the sensors are fed with the same devices. Like we have like HTC Hive is one of the example we can say. So yeah, it is like bringing the 3D or computer generated 3D images in a real world. So whenever we are seen through the handheld devices, that is mobile devices, you will see that object. And in with the naked eyes you cannot see it. Best example you can take it a Pokemon, right? Pokemon is the best example for augmented reality. So what the Pokemon will do is like it will ask you to go to particular location. So whenever you reach that location, you can see some real-time 3D object in the physical world. Okay, so that is the best example for augmented reality when it comes to gaming scenario. So we'll see. Hello, Saif. Hello,
Yes.
Saif. You can able to see, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's visible.
Okay, yeah. So we'll see what is exactly the augmented reality is. So as I told that augmented reality is a technology which superimpose the 3D image which generated by the computer in our real world. So whenever we see with the particular AR devices, you can see that you can feel the presence of that particular 3D image in our real world. So that is the impact that augmented reality is creating. There are different types of augmented realities. Other we'll see it in later. So augmented reality is nothing but it's augmenting. It's adding something to something which is not virtually present, but is not physically present to our real world. For example, this is a real world, and it is a computer generated image, right? It is superimposing that image on our real world. As I told that we have handheld devices and we have head mounted devices. So normally head mount devices are like little costly when compared to handheld devices, because now everyone having the mobile devices. So we can use our mobile devices or augmented reality device, and we can replicate our AR stuffs using the mobile devices. And we'll see, as I told, it is a little bit costly when compared to handheld devices. So the demo we'll see with handheld device itself. So we'll see how it can be converted. So as I told that Pokemon Go is the best example. It will ask you to go to particular location. So when it goes, some 3D image will appear. Okay, so that is the best example you can say. And so if your camera, how to check your camera is on a ARKit compatibility is there or not. These are the sensor needs to be there in your mobile devices, along with a high CPU, GPU and RAM. At least you minimum you required like 4 GB RAM for augmented reality to happen. And there are different types of augmented reality as there. One is like a marker based augmented reality, markerless augmented reality, projection based, and superimposition based augmented reality. So marker based augmented reality is something like we need some um, marker, right? So for example, let's take this here. The book is the marker. Okay, image target, we'll call it as image target. So we have make this book as the image target. So this 3D object will appear only in this book. So other than this book, we cannot see this 3D object. So that is how the marker based augmented reality is working. Okay, so every time you need to carry this marker for your augmented object through comes up. And markerless augmented reality is something like you can scan your surfaces, and wherever you want your augment reality the AR object needs to be appeared, you can hit there and it will appear. See, so it will be helpful in like setting up your home, like if you're buying a furniture and you want to see like whether it will fit our house or not. So all those things we can go with a markerless augmented reality. Even Pokemon is a markerless augmented reality. We are not using any marker over there. So wherever you hit that particular surface, that 3D image will appear over there. And there's a projection based augmented. This is a little bit costly. We can take an example of Google Glass. So Google Glass has all types of sensor is there in Google Glass, and along with the projection is there. So whenever you tap that Google Glass, some kind of data will be projected in front of you. So you can scroll up by waving your hand, you can scroll the data, you can control the data. So that is the best example of projection based augmented reality, which is like as I told, it's a little costly. If you go to this particular website, you can see the article of the Google classes. And if time permit, you will see about Geo class. Now Google has collaborated with Geo and they're launching the Geo class. So that is something interesting. And superimposition based augmented reality is like we will have the actual object. Okay, we can so whenever you show that actual object, there will be 3D object will be imposed over that object. So very similar to marker based, but it is something like very different. Like if you show your car, and there will be a 3D image will be imposed over there. So that's about the augmented reality. So that's how the augmented realities work. So we'll see few other examples. So these are things we have seen. So the video, whatever playing, it is for like retail based thing. So whenever you're going to get a dress, like every time you need to go to trial room and you need to put your dresses and you need to check whether it is color ways and pattern ways and fit ways it is matching or not, right? So now they are coming up with an idea like what it can do. You go to your shop wherever you want to buy, they will have like a kind of monitor will be there. So they will have, using the depth sensor, they will scan the entire body of you, and they will create a 3D model or 3D avatar of you. And from with that you can place your dresses and you can check whether it is fitting at least in a color and pattern ways it is fitting or not. So that is the this video describes that kind of applications. Okay, that is the augmented reality is going to create impact on retail, especially side. And manufacturing side also, I had like couple of videos, but I didn't paste it here due to time consuming. So that will be little bit interesting, like machinery, like so you just scan your machines like, and with the like mobile where the AR application has been installed. You just scan the machines, and the machines will be projected in a 3D image in a working condition, and it will show you what kind of fault it has, and you can identify it from there, and you can fix it virtually. So that kind of impact is creating in the manufacturing industry. So this is something like which I have created on my own. And so what I'm doing is this is a marker based augmented reality. So here I have this is the marker. Okay, whatever you're seeing, here we have three different sections. One is about me, yeah, one is about me and my AR work, and one is sensor data. So whenever this is like whenever I tab or whenever I click about me, this is not the uh, this is actual paper. Okay, this is nothing but a paper which is I have placed it in the slate. So whenever I click the about me, it will display virtually display something about me, and whenever I click my AR work, it will display some work of my AR thing. And whenever I click sensor, it will show me the TH11 sensor data. So that's something which I created. So we'll see this how it works. See, now it has been displayed over here. That is the virtual thing, right? That screen is a virtual. It is not physically present in a real world. So whenever I click about me, so it will display a virtual screen where it will display about myself. So I just named as a virtual business card. Okay, now I'm going to click my AR work. So it will show a video of my AR work. So whenever I show that particular image target, it will show a 3D image of the house on flight is flying, and trees and cars will be there. And this is some boat is sailing through. Yeah, so here the flights and clouds are there. So flight is flying through clouds. So, and you can see the emission of the flight also. So that kind of 3D impact you can have it. So it is like AR within AR. So now I'm clicking a sensor data. So this is like a temperature and humidity sensor data. So within that target, it will you can see the data. It is not clear. You'll see the in demo. It will be a little bit clear, and it is like we just modified few things over there. So yeah. Okay, so we'll see the demo. Before seeing the demo, I will show one more applications. Okay, before that, I will just explain how we are creating this augmented reality. This is the Unity. Okay, this is the software called Unity software. This is the Unity software where we create all our 3D objects. This is the scene where we are going to create your real that augmented reality object needs to be appear. Okay, so where you can create all our thing. Okay, this is something which I tried for watch selection. Like you have seen that dressing, right? For retail thing, you have seen some video on dress selection. Similarly, I have tried with watch one. So we'll see the demo how it is working. It is not completed, but it is in still in progress. It's not up to the dressing video, but you can see simple thing. So I'm just I already created the scenes and everything, UI, all those things I have created, and these are the watch models you can see. Okay, now this is the image target. Okay, this is the image target I have created. Okay, scan this device. Okay, and you can see three different icons over here, right? Three different watch model. So whatever I click, it will be shown over here. So we'll try with this. Okay, um, the lighting is not proper. So I'm clicking the first watch. Actually, the lightning is not proper. See, the watch, first watch is came, right? So like that you can, so I'm changing the second watch. Now you can see the virtual, the watch is not that, but virtually you can see how the watch will be. And there is a color change also. It is not activated. So if I click red color, the watch will change to red color. If I click black color, it will change to black color. And this is the third watch. It is loading. See, this is the third watch. So like that you change. So this is something interesting. I can change the color of the watch, and you can, so you can have so many watches what you want. So you can really feel that how that before buying the watch you can see that how it will be. So that is the impact of. So I'm stopping here. So same way like now the Flipkart, IKEA, no, IKEA is like an international retail thing like Walmart. So IKEA now they are what are doing this? They are integrated the augmented reality within their applications. So if you want to buy a sofa, before buying, like using their augmented reality app, you can select the sofa and using that markerless augmented reality, you can place the sofa in the exact place and you can check how the sofa will look if I get the sofa. So that kind of the applications they are developing, and in future even the Flipkart or Amazon is going to change the application in augmented reality, because nowadays the mobiles are coming with huge computing, right? Now the 8 GB mobiles are available. So now that kind of implementation is going on, like whatever you're buying, before buying you can feel the reality of the object what you are going to buy. So this is the Unity software, and I can show the scenes whatever we created. um, okay, see, this is the UI canvas which I created, and this is the image target. This is watch one which I disabled now. Um, see, see, this is the watch one. Okay, uh, right, so see, the watch is placed over the image target. I will just hide this. See, this is the image target, whatever we scan now, right? Which I showed using the camera. So I have placed, whenever this image comes in front of the camera, it will display the watches. Okay. And for that, we created an UI. So we can create a UI in augmented real so using Unity. So this is the canvas I created. See, we have three different watches. So whenever I click that watches, this is the this. If I click the first watch, then that particular things will be side up, slide to the here. And if I click the second watch, the particular watch window will appear in the canvas. So that is the kind of thing. And we have a scripts. So we are using C# script to control all these things. So I'll just show the script. Okay, so scripts are here. Okay, you can see it in Visual Studio, but as of now I'm showing here. So these are the scripts where we have to write to control all these things. So what time what needs to be appear, all these things we need to control it from the C# script. So yeah, this is to for color changing, which is incomplete, I had to do. And this is for that whenever you click that particular watch, it will appear. Okay, so this is the one thing which we created, and this is the actual thing. Okay, where we can control our THT11 sensor data. So here I created the scenes, right? This is the image target which I'm going to project with in front of the camera, and the data will be populated over in a canvas. So where we will have it. Okay, okay, I'll just explain the scene here. So I created one switch off LED, switch on LED. So whenever it means like it's a virtual button, you can see a blue color is there, right? It is a virtual button. So whenever I tab in this place in my image target, it will switch off my LED light in the board. And whenever I tap here, it will switch off switch on the LED board here or in the board. And the temperature and humidity, whatever we are reading from THT11 sensor data, it will be displayed in temperature and humidity. And here the new text, right? It will display the current time. Okay. you cannot see new text in when it is projecting. You can see the current time will be there, and here we will we can see the led light status, if whether it is on or off, that status will be seen over here. Okay. um, okay, I'll show the script over here. So these are the scripts I used. Led on, this is one script and this is another script. So I'll show it here. So actually led control over here, right? So whenever, okay, led okay, I will first how first I will see how we are calling the web service call. Like we need to read the uh, DH11 sensor data, right? So from there we have already Arduino board is reading the data and it is projecting to the, it is writing to the serial port, and from Python we are already reading the data and we are exposed that as a web services, right? Now from here I need to call the Python service. So Python, what it will do is Python web service, and Python web service, what it will do is it will read the data from the serial port of Arduino and it will send back us. So see, I deployed in my localhost 333. So this is the starting voice start, right? This is the start of the application. So it will get the data from here. So so once the data I got, so I'm storing it. Okay, I'm storing in the start go routine. So once the data is comes here, okay, so I'm calling this function get routine, and in get routine I'm passing the URL of my Python code. Okay, once it is comes, so here we are calling that particular URL, and we are getting the JSON data over here. So this is the JSON data we are getting, and here we are doing a string manipulation because we are getting temperature and humidity. And after doing a string manipulation or splitting up the temperature and humidity, I'm storing it in these two separate variable. Okay, and this separate variable, if you see here, micro humidity text and micro temperature. Okay, these things are like a game object or buttons. See, I created here micro temperature value and micro temperature uh, micro humidity text. Okay, these are I created as a text and public. So when you come to humidity unity platform, it is tied up with this particular canvas. You can see temperature and humidity, right? So this is binded to this particular UI element. So whatever the variable we are getting, it will be displayed over here. Okay, so now I'll just run this and we'll check how it is projecting. um, Okay, see, I just show the plain paper. Okay, it's a nothing but a plain paper, but we use this as an image target, right? Now the temperature and humidity, you can see it here. This is the temperature, sorry, this is the temperature, and this is the humidity, and this is the current time where is new text is there, right? It is changed to the current time. And here we have virtual button, which is showing switch off LED light, switch on LED light, and all those things are there. Okay. So whenever I click this, whenever I tap here, see LED light status is changed to off, and whenever I tap here, LED status changed to on. I'm not able to, I cannot show the board because if I take, then the image shortcut will be disturbed. See, is it disturbing, right? So it is little bit hard to show the board. I will try that. Okay, one minute. Also there. So this is the concept of here. So before that, I'll just show the demo which I captured through here. So this is already captured demo, which few people might have seen this. Will run. Okay, so that's the exact the things works out, and I'll just go through the work. Go to again. So this is an update code. So for every frame of the video, this function will be called. So if you want to keep repeated functionality over, if you need some repeated function, for example, THT level sensor data, right? So I need this data frequently, right? I don't need like one time. So what I'm doing at the start of the function, I'm calling this function, and again in update, right? And update I can place again this same code. So for every frame, it will keep on calling this web services, and it will get the DHT level sensor data. So this is for like changing the color. Like what I'm doing is, like if the temperature is less than 30, I have written one function called turn red. So this function will be called, and it will change the color of that particular temperature to red color. That's why you can see the color changes in over there. And there is a less than 55. If it is less than 55, then it will humidity box will be changed to red. Otherwise, it will be white. So this color change is controlled over here. So that is the code behind this. So these are the green button color for this. And yeah, this is LED on. So whenever the virtual buttons, right, whatever the virtual buttons created, so we have created that virtual button as a button, like virtual button. And we have a LED text button, whether to change whether it is on or off. All those things I have defined here as a public function, sorry, public variable, and that will be binded over here. So here. So, see, these are the public variable. Whatever variable you public, it will come here, and you can bind whatever the data you need, and you can bind the UA element over here, so that the value whatever it is reading, it will immediately will be reflected in the UI. So same how switch off and switch on, like, see, it is a LED on script, right? So whenever the virtual button is clicked, so it will call the LED on script, and the button is this button, on and off text. It is binded over here. So this virtual button is nothing but this one, and the LED text is nothing but on and off. So based on our code, it will reflect here. So whenever I tab, right, whenever I tab on, it will make a call to this particular function. Okay, slash on. Okay, so it is nothing but I just did a IP forwarding, because from mobile previously it is a local host, right? So localhost slash on, it will on my LED light. So whenever I run from mobile, the localhost will not work, right? So that's the reason I changed to, I did a IP forwarding, so that my local web services can be called over this master public IP address. So this is a this is for, okay, this how that things will work out for augmented reality. So the, as I told, that software we are using for is Unity, and this is the scene where we will create our scenes over there. And this is the game object, where you can whenever you execute the game will be there, and it will show how exactly it looks in the real world object. So so another important thing is Euphoria engine, where it will helpful in creating the image target. See here I have a database called ER Business Got database, right? Augmented Reality Business Got database, and I have an image target here. So I will take you to the Euphoria engine. So one minute. So the Euphoria Unity and Euphoria works together. So Euphoria engine will help you to create the image, the required image target, and like. Okay, better I will log in there. So, like Euphoria, we have Google AR Core, and that is something I will show there. So you can go to that things also. So that is a free course in Coursera. So where you can go through it, and you can uh, you can you can understand the like basic things in augmented reality. So this is the Euphoria engine. So here the license keys you can create and you can use it for your applications. And this is the target manager. So these are the targets, the database I have created. For example, for watch, right? Watch I have created a database, and in database I created the image target. This is the image target. See, so image target, you scan the images and upload it over here, it will give a rating. It's whether 5 star or 4 star, the ratings will be there. Mostly, at least you need to have a 4 star images. So I will say what is the star rating is. It will see, this is a scanned one, right? So if you click show futures, it will show the futures over that image. So many features are there, right? So this is what the AR camera, whenever you are putting the image target in front of your camera, the camera will look for these features. So if the features are more, it will be easy to identify. If the features are less, then it will be very difficult to project the images in the particular target. That's why when you are uploading or scanning an images, you need to be make sure that you have a very high level star. At least the minimum of 4 star is required, so that the features will be very good, so that you can use it in our application. So once the database is created, the image target database is created, you can download this database, and then you can again you can drag and drop you can add it. So here assets, and this import package, using the custom package you can add that database over here. So once the database is created, you can import the database over here. See, this is the database I added, and this is the default database they have provided. So once the database emerged, these are the different image target I have. This is for THT11, this is for temperature, AR business card, virtual button. So different things I have. So we can use it for augmenting your object. So that's the overview of how the IoT and AR can be integrated, and we can do it. So this is very basic things in IoT AR. There are a lot of things people are doing, like I say that virtual control, right? Virtually you can tap it and control. So, and there is a mixed reality is coming, virtual and augmented reality. Both they are integrating, and they're creating a huge impact on that. Also one video over there. Yeah, this is something which I need to show. This is a Geo class, right? So Geo has collaborated with Google, and you all know, you all heard about that news. They have invested like around 37,000 crores something with Geo, and they're trying to going to launch Geo class. So that is kind of a revolution it is going to create, as same as the Geo SIM. So I will play this video. It will be good one. Okay, so that's the Geo class is planning. So one, it is going to, if it is launched successfully, it is going to create a kind of revolution in teaching, especially in this COVID situation, as people are like virtually most of the things are going. So it's going to give a real experience with the virtual learning and virtual meeting, especially with offices. This is going to create a virtual meeting. So that's how I'm done with the sessions. So if you have any things to discuss, then you can post to me. Saif, back to you. Saif? Hello? Saif, you there?
I think he might be away or on mute. Uh, I think it's a wonderful session, Syed. There is also Syed Shahid Ali Afsar from IBM.
Oh, okay. Hi, Shahid.
Thanks for taking us through a lot of live examples. I think going through examples makes our life easier to understand, right? Uh,
Yeah.
so the forum is open for the questions. I think people can start asking questions. Anyone has any questions?
Uh, can we? Hello,
Yes, yes, yeah.
can you hear me? This
Yeah,
is
I can
Abdul.
hear you.
This is Abdul Majid from Mumbai. Thank you for giving this wonderful session once again. And just I want to know, can you explore means what are the future means? Do you have any more examples means where we can use this AR and VR?
Yeah, I have the examples like more related to industrial manufacturing engines. So when it comes to manufacturing industries, we have like very huge machines, right? So on minute, I will show. I have the video, but I try to have the application in the mobile, but I missed that image target. The Harvard business has created that augmented reality. So they have some 3D machine as a image target. So whenever we just put your devices over there, it will give the real time experience of our that machines. Like you can see the live 3D working of how the machines will be there, and if any connections or um, any malfunction is there, you can it will identify to you, and you can directly you can get it. This is something you can similar to here. Okay, this is like a COVID situation. So this is a use case which I created for one of our organization for how to use the geo class with augmented reality and IoT. So this is a kind of real-time example. So now we need to have maintain a 2 meter social distancing, right? So with augmented reality, so this circle will be green color when it is not overlapped with the others one. So with this augmented reality, it will show like if you're less than 2 meters, then the colors will be changed to red color and the overlap will be there. So this is a kind of real time the current which will fit for the current scenario. So where augmented reality can pitch in, and we can maintain the social distance according to the rules laid by the WHO's. So this is one use case we can define, and this is another use case. This is the industry, right? So many machines will be there. So the worker or uh, the the field planner or field maintainer. So whenever he goes for auditing, so he need to just project the camera with that machines. So the machines the 3D model has been already captured, and they train that 3D model and how it behaves at the right time, and how in case of malfunctions how it will be behave. All those things has been captured and it is trained. So whenever they display, they put that AR application over that machine, everything will be displayed in the 3D format, and they can easily fix it. For example, see here alert has been created, right? Some doorway should be 32 inches action, but it is not there. Action is needed. Then you can click this photo button, it will send to the admin people, and admin people can directly take an action. So that kind of 3D virtual information it will give. So that is another use case, and this is a home automation, like similar to whatever we have displayed, right? LED. Virtually we are controlling LED light. Same thing, like virtually you can control your AC, you can control your heater, all the appliances in your home, right? You don't need to have the actual physical buttons. So you just open your AR applications, and you just click your, whether you want to switch on the app or whatever device. Or in future, I hope, like, oh, if the trend is going like this, everyone will, like mobile, everyone will have their own virtual classes, right? Like Geo Class, if it is launched, and that will be head mounted devices will be more. People will start using head mounted use, at least for augmented reality. So using that, you can easily control on the way all the devices, appliances. So that kind of usage will be there. So I missed that Harvard business. That will be very interesting. I have the app in the mobile, uh, but I missed that image target. I don't know where it's placed. Once that image target I have get right, then inshallah I will try to record the video how we can project the machines in a 3D way, and how we can control it, and all those things I will record it and I will send it to you.
Thank you very much. Other than this, as you are using this Unity, do we can we use this any open source tool for this?
This is open source, you can directly use, nothing is required. You can download Unity from Unity website, and you can directly use it. This is the famous game engine. It will be used to create a lot of games. The augmented reality games are there, right? 3D games. So all those things
Yes,
have
yes.
been created using Unity engine only. So you can directly use, and it has a lot of flexibility is there. So it will, you will be more comfortable with this, if I'm not wrong. And apart from that, you can go through this in Coursera. There is one course is there, Introduction to Augmented Reality and AR Core. So they are explaining the Google AR Core apps. So it will give a very high level idea how the AR can be used with the different applications, and across the industry they have taken through these courses. In across the industry, how it is using and how the impact is created. All those things have been discussed very clearly with this app. It's a 4-week app, but you can done it in 1 or 2 weeks. Nothing is required. It is like a theoretical things, and with lot of interesting videos and all those things. It is done by Google only, so it will be more interesting. It is a free course. You can go to Coursera and you can subscribe to this course.
Jazakallah, Jazakallah.
Barakallah feekum. And if you're more interested in YouTube, you can search for Engineer Dreams. So they also have a lot of augmented engineer dreams.
Jazakallah.
So you can search for this channel. They have like a lot of augmented um, things. Yeah, lot of things they have. So it will be helpful.
Very nice session, Brother Sayed. It was
Yeah,
really very informative. And maybe people can start working on their own IoT AR projects, maybe some
okay.
good projects also.
Okay. Saif, I'm sorry. Actually, I thought I'm sharing the screen. Sorry. Actually, this is what I'm discussing. The brother who last asked the question, right? This is what I told. I thought I'm sharing the screen. This is what I told. So this is for augmented reality, like you can using GeoClass or any other applications, you can maintain a social distancing. It is used for real time thing. And this is for different the construction site, whatever I told, right? For machine things. So it will be helpful. It is showing alert, right? When you put AR application, it will show alert, and you can send a photo by clicking. It's a virtual button. If you click this button, it will send a photo to the admin people and take an action. So this is like controlling the virtual home automation. You can control your heater, all those things on the floor. And yeah, uh, this is the course I told. Coursera. You just go to Coursera and check for introduction to augmented reality using Google AR Core. So it is a free course, where 4-week course, so you can get an understanding of augmented reality and all those things. And there is an engineer teams in YouTube. They create a lot of augmented reality apps, and you can train yourself with Unity. Yeah, sorry.
Jazakallah, Jazakallah.
Okay, do you have any other questions, or we can thank Brother Syed and close the session? Anyone else? Okay, I think there are no more questions. So, Brother Syed, thanks a lot for your nice session, and all the participants, thank you very much. And inshallah, we'll keep on arranging further sessions. So, any of the participants, if you have any sessions to deliver, you're most welcome. You can just contact me, and we can arrange your session also. Okay, thanks everyone.
Barakallahu fikum, Saif.